What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Realms of Metal. Eddie here, back with you from my happy place, my metal room here in the woods in PA. Uh, we're doing a Heavy Metal Perfection Part 3 today, third installment of this series. 15 perfect or damn near perfect metal records, traditional metal records to start your collection with. We did a thrash metal perfection. We did 4 parts of those. I think we're done with those for now. We've done 3 death metal perfection videos. I got a 4th one on the way upcoming week. And this is the 3rd heavy metal perfection video. So it's rooted in traditional heavy metal for the most part, you know, records that I think that everybody should own if they're just getting into the genre. You know, I pay respect to the fathers of the genre and try to throw in some extra stuff too. Great records that maybe you wouldn't think would or should be on this list. You know, so, you know, let me know what you guys think. Check out the first 2 videos, just the 3rd one. Before we do that, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who is watching the videos, commenting, liking them, people who've subscribed to the channel. You know, welcome to the channel, man. Again, this is a show by the fans, for the fans. You know, we're talking about we love here. We're talking about metal records, and how much better does it get than that? You know, so thank you all. With that said, you know, let's get at it. So, starting with the fathers of the genre again. Now, I only use one band per video. That's the rule. But the loophole is for the first one, there were 2 different eras of the band. So for part 1, I included Paranoid from Black Sabbath and Heaven and Hell. 2 different eras for Black Sabbath was my loophole for getting them both in there. They need to be on here. And in part 2, we did Black Sabbath, the original Black Sabbath record. So part 3, we're not getting volume 4. We're not getting Master Reality, or we're not getting Sabotage. We're getting Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. 1973 on Vertigo Records, their 5th full length. Still got the classic lineup. And I really think this is an underrated record. I really do. Every song on here is good. Got the title track, Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. A National Acrobat, killer track. Fluff, Sabracadabra. Killing Yourself to Live, really underrated. Who Are You? Looking for Today, Spiral Architect. Sabbath Bloody Sabbath, record you need in your collection. Let's go to 1980. So in part 1, we had Screaming for Vengeance. In part 2, we had Painkiller. Part 3, I toyed with putting this record in both of those ones, and I opted to go for other ones, but, you know, here it is. I knew it was going to be on one of them. It's Judas Priest, British Steel. Their 7th full length on CBS Records, 1980. Of course, Judas Priest from Birmingham, England, as well as Black Sabbath. I mean, what more can be said about this record? I mean, it's a classic. You got so many classic tracks on here: Breaking the Law, Rapid Fire, Metal Gods, Grinder, United, Living After Midnight, You Don't Have to Be Old to Be Wise, The Rage, Steeler, Judas Priest, British Steel, man. Absolutely essential. Let's go to 1987, this band's first appearance on this series. I looked their catalog up and down, and I almost went with Epicus, Doomicus, Metallicus, but I opted for Nightfall. I just like it a little bit better. Candlemass from Stockholm, Sweden. Doom metal, their 2nd full length on Active Records, again, came out in 1987. This was Messiah Markolin's first record with the band. And the original title was going to be Gothic Stone, which is one of the tracks on here. Supposedly, Messiah, convinced Leif Edling to change the name and the cover art to what he visioned it to be, and that's what we got. Brilliant record. Gothic Stone, The Well of Souls, At the Gallows End. How great is that one? Samaritan, March Funebra, Dark of the Veils of Death, Mourner's Lament, Bewitched, Black Candles. If you're not familiar with Candlemass, I would definitely start with the first 2. I like this one a little bit better than Epicus, but let me know what you guys think. Candlemass is Nightfall. Let's go to 1980. Part 1, we did Number of the Beast. Part 2, we did Power Slave. Part 3 is getting the self-titled record from Iron Maiden. Their first release on EMI, Iron Maiden from London, England, called the Anno Era, This and Killers. Like, there are people who like are so loyal to the Diano era of Iron Maiden that they like completely dismiss like even the Bruce Dickinson era, man. And I, to each his own. I don't get it. I think all the Maiden stuff in the 80s is gold. The first two records, as well as all the Bruce Dickinson records. You know, I'll even go as far as to say that I'm a big fan of No Prayer for the Dying and Fear of the Dark too. So, essential record to have. Prowler, Remember Tomorrow, Running Free, Phantom of the Opera, Transylvania, Strange World, Charlotte the Harlot, Iron Maiden. Here it is, man. Absolutely essential. Let's go to 1984. Now, this is one of those bands that kind of toe the line for some people between hard rock and heavy metal. I always considered them a metal band. You know, they were a step above, you know, the Poisons and the Cinderellas and all that crap. So on part 2, we featured the Headless Children. On part 3, we're getting the first W.A.S.P record on Capitol Records, 1984. W.A.S.P from LA, California. You know, to me, the old W.A.S.P are metal records, man. I mean, I know you could, they look kind of glammy and shit on the cover with their hair and their dress, but, you know, these records were much heavier than all the other crap coming out of Los Angeles at the time, like the Rats and everything like that. Great record, man. Like, the original title for this record was supposed to be Winged Assassins, and it ended up getting changed to just self-titled W.A.S.P, which I think is a good move. I don't really like that title, Winged Assassins. But the track Fuck Like a Beast was supposed to be on this. It got nixed because of the vulgarity of it or whatever. So they ended up releasing Fuck Like a Beast as a single, you know, right around when this came out. This was 1984. I think the single was also released in 1984. I got to check the date. But so you got I Want to Be Somebody, Love Machine, The Flame, Bad, School Days, Hellion, really killer, Sleeping in the Fire, really killer, On Your Knees, Tormentor, Torture Never Stops. W.A.S.P's debut was self-titled. Killer, man, killer. Let's go to 1983. This band's first appearance on the series, and it's well deserved. After I looked over their discography, I looked at Restless and Wild, I looked at Metal Heart. I opted for Balls to the Wall, except from Germany, their fifth full length on RCA Records. That Balls to the Wall riff is an easy as fuck riff to play. Like, even I can play it, and I suck at guitar. But like, sometimes the best riffs are the easiest riffs, right? So, Balls to the Wall, London Leather Boys, Fight It Back, Head Over Heels, Losing More Than You've Ever Had, Love Child, super killer. Turn Me On, another killer one. Losers and Winners, amazing. Guardian of the Night, Winter Dreams, except Balls to the Wall. Essential in my book. And probably my favorite Accept record, top to bottom. Let's go to 1984. Dio's The Last in Line. This was Dio's second full length. Dio from New York City on Warner Brothers. On part 1, we did Holy Diver. On part 2, we did Strange Highways. And part 3 is getting The Last in Line. Same lineup as Holy Diver, except add Claude Schnell on keyboard for this one. Ronnie James Dio, Vivian Campbell, Jimmy Bain, Vinny Appice. Amazing record. We Rock is a fucking metal anthem. The Last in Line, great tune. Breathless, I Speed at Night, underrated, killer track. One Night in the City, Evil Eyes. Mystery is an underrated track. Eat Your Heart Out. Egypt, The Chains Are On. Dio's The Last in Line, absolutely essential. Pick it up. Let's go to 1983. On part 1, we did Blizzard of Oz. On part 2, we did Diary of a Madman. Part 3 is getting Bark at the Moon. I have such great memories of this one, like on cassette. Like when I was a kid, like I listened to metal as a kid, like before I considered myself a metalhead. if you watch my videos, you know, And Justice for All was the record that made me a metalhead. It changed the way I felt about heavy metal at the time. But I listened to a lot of metal even before that. Like my mom used to go to like Bradley's, and she used to take me, and then they had all the cassettes and those things, so you wouldn't steal them, right? And I used to like mow lawns around the neighborhood to get money, so I always had money on me, right? So I used to go in the cassette section, just find the records with the coolest covers. Bark at the Moon was one of them. Diary of a Madman, Blizzard of Oz. Like I had all that stuff. Like I had, Pyromania and High and Dry. I had like, Rat and Motley Crue and Bon Jovi. Like you got to start somewhere, right? And I was a kid, so I did. Grim Reaper was another one. So I listened to a lot of metal before I considered myself a metalhead. And this one brings back a lot of memories for me as a kid. Underrated record, in Ozzy's catalog, in my opinion. Bark at the Moon, You're No Different is such an underrated track. Now You See It, Now You Don't, another one. Rock and Roll Rebel, another underrated track. Center of Eternity, So Tired, Slow Down, Waiting for Darkness is a fucking killer track. Ozzy's Bark at the Moon, first record with Jakey Lee after Randy Rhoads passing. So absolutely essential in my book. And that was his third on Epic. So let's go 10 years later. Let's go to 1993. On part 1, we did Melissa. On part 2, we did Don't Break the Oath. Part 3 is Getting in the Shadows, Mercyful Fate. I absolutely love this record. I love most of the Mercyful Fate stuff. I really do. This was their third on Metal Blade. I'm a big Mercyful Fate, King Diamond fan. Always have been since I first heard, King Diamond way back when. Egypt, The Bell Witch, The Old Oak, Shadows, A Gruesome Time, 13 Invitations, A Room of Golden Air, which is the instrumental. Legend of the Headless Rider, Is That You, Melissa? Return of the Vampire. It was like they redid the track for this record. I think Lars Ulrich did guest drums on that. But super fucking killer record. Mercyful Fate, In the Shadows, completely essential. Let's go to 1991. This was my first Motorhead record, 1916. My first Motorhead record as a kid. This is what introduced me to Motorhead. On part 1, we did Overkill. On part 2, we did Ace of Spades. Part 3 is getting 1916. 10th full length on WTG/Epic Records. Of course, Motorhead from London, England. Rip Lemmy. I'm So Bad, Baby, I Don't Care is probably my favorite Motorhead song ever. There's something about that track. I never get tired of it. I could listen to it all fucking day on repeat. And it just, it revs me right up every time I hear it. Killer track. The One to Sing the Blues, No Voices in the Sky, great one. Going to Brazil, really killer one. Nightmare the Dreamtime, Love Me Forever. Angel City, Make My Day is a killer one. Ramones, Ramones, Ramones. Shut You Down, 1916. Motorheads, 1916. Essential in my book. Alrighty, you guys wanted it, you got it. I don't disagree with you. I got a lot of comments to include this band on this series. And, here they are. Pantera's Cowboys from Hell, 1990 on Atco Records. Their 5th full length at the time, from Arlington, Texas. Everybody knows Pantera. This is probably the best Pantera record, top to bottom. I don't disagree. Every song on here is good. The band considers this like their first official release. I remember like seeing interviews with them and reading stuff about them, and they kind of like disregarded their like the past before this, like their glam metal and rock past or whatever it was. And this was like a new beginning for them. That's how they saw it. I know a lot of people like the older Pantera stuff. I don't like it personally, but this record I really do like, and it really does deserve to be on these videos. This was a CD that I got as a kid. You remember Columbia House, where you can like mail away, you like buy one CD or whatever for $15, and then you get to pick like 12 or 15 CDs for a penny each, and then you got like this whole load of CDs in the mail. Like I did that, and I did that a bunch of times actually, but that's where I got Cowboys from Hell originally on CD. And when I got it, I was a big thrash fan, back then starting out, and I considered it just like a thrash record. I mean, it's really a groove record. That has some thrashy parts on it. I consider it like just a, to classify it, I put it in as a regular metal record. I wouldn't put it in with the thrash uh, videos that I've been doing. But hey, man, it's a great record. I take nothing away from it. A lot of classic tracks on here. Cowboys from Hell, obviously. Primal Concrete Sledge is a belter. Psycho Holiday, killer track. Heresy, Cemetery Gates is of legend. Domination is a really fucking killer track. Shattered, Clash with Reality, really good. Medicine Man, killer. Message in Blood, killer. The Sleep, really good. The Art of Shredding, really good. Top to bottom, great record. You guys wanted it. You guys got it. It's on here. Pantera's Cowboys from Hell. Let's go to 1986. Now, this is a band that sort of towed the line back then between metal and thrash for me. And they have elements of thrash in their music, but I never really considered them a thrash band, And that's Metal Church from Aberdeen, Washington. I'm going with 1986's The Dark. And this was their second full length on Elektra. Like I said, they have elements of thrash in their music, yeah, but I never really considered them a thrash band, So otherwise, this record would have been on one of the Thrash Metal Perfection videos I did. But this is going on the Heavy Metal Perfection video. It deserves to be on here. Metal Church is The Dark. Great songs, man. Ton of Bricks. Start the Fire. Method to Your Madness. Watch the Children Pray. Like, come on. Like, I think that was the first Metal Church song I ever heard was Watch the Children Pray. And that ballady track, it reminded me of something like, like an old Metallica ballad or something like that, so like Fade to Black or something like that. The Dark, Psycho, Line of Death, Burial at Sea, Western Alliance. Really solid album, top to bottom. Last record with David Wayne before he left the band. Killer stuff, man. Metal Church is The Dark. Let me know what you think of this one on here. We're up to number 13. I'm going to pull up the album artwork for this one because my CD is in a box somewhere. If I see this on vinyl, I'll definitely pick it up. I just haven't come across it. And that's Diamond Head's Lightning to the Nations. Their first full length. They're from Sturbridge, England. Now, this came out in 1980. It was originally released by the band independently. And then they did like 1,000 copies of that. And then they re-released it again under their own label called Happy Face Records. And then I believe it was picked up by Metal Blade. So, great record, top to bottom. Metallica covered half the tracks on this album. You've got Lightning to the Nations, The Prince, Sucking My Love, Am I Evil, Sweet and Innocent, It's Electric, Helpless. Helpless and The Prince are really good covers that Metallica did. And, Am I Evil is good too. Don't get me wrong. It's just a little played out for me now. But really good record, top to bottom. I think it's a record that deserves to be on this list. They're an important band, and they influence a lot of the thrash bands that I love, so Diamond Head, Lightning to the Nations. All righty, let's go to 1985. Another band sort of like W.A.S.P for a lot of people that toe the line between hard rock and heavy metal. The old Dokken stuff, I always considered heavy metal. Like I said, they're not like the Rats and the Poisons and the Motley Crues and all that crap. They were a step above that for me, musically. And I'm going with Dokken's Under Lock and Key. 1985. It was their fourth full length. They're from LA, California. Now, don't forget, like there were two versions of Breaking the Chains. There was Break in the Chains and then Breaking the Chains, so it skews up their discography a little bit. Like some people consider those the first release and they put them together, but they're actually separate. They were released in 81 and 83, I believe. So, man, this is a great record. everybody loves the old Dokken. Like, there's not one person I talk to that's doesn't like old Dokken. Like, everybody likes it. Unchain the Night, The Hunter, In My Dreams, Slipping Away, Lightning Strikes Again, It's Not Love, Jaded Heart, Don't Lie to Me, Will the Sun Rise, Till the Living End. Really great record. Don Dokken, George Lynch, man. Fuck. Jeff Pilson, Mick Brown. Dokken, Under Lock and Key. Here's my 15th and a bonus, because we always include a bonus here on the Realms of Metal. That's what we do. Let's go to 1990. So on part, by the way, we included Back for the Attack on part 2 of this series. So let's go to 1990. On part 2, we included Danzig 3, How the Gods Kill. Heavy Metal Perfection part 3, we're getting Danzig 2, Lucifuge. Love this record. I like Danzig 3 a little bit better than this one, but this one is still fucking super killer, man. Like, this cover here was supposedly inspired by the Doors self-titled debut. Had that the cover of the Doors record, supposed to be kind of like that. And it's kind of funny because when I got into Danzig, he reminded me of like the metal version of Jim Morrison. You know, he's had such a, you know, unique style. He didn't really sound like anybody. To me, he sounded like Jim Morrison, you know, but great record though. Fuck. Long Way Back from Hell, Snakes of Christ, Killer Wolf, amazing. Tired of Being Alive, I'm the One. What a unique track that is. I'm the One. Her Black Wings, killer. Devil's Plaything, killer. 777, Blood and Tears, Girl, Pain in the World, produced by Rick Rubin. Danzig 2, Lucifuge, absolutely essential. Those first 3 Danzig records are gold for me, you know, so. And four is decent, and then when like Danzig 5 came out, it was like that industrial record, and you know, I kind of fell off the Danzig train after that, and but these first 3 and arguably first 4 are killer. So here's my bonus. Now, the loophole in the first video that I included 2 Sabbaths. The rule is, you know, 1 band per video. But I put 2 Sabbath records on the first installment of this because they were 2 different eras of the band. I did Paranoid and Heaven and Hell. Part 3, I'm using that loophole again, man. I'm sorry, but this record has to be on here. I'm going with 1992's Dehumanizer from Black Sabbath. This lineup back together since the Live Evil record from 1982 and the Mob Rules from 81. It was Ronnie James Dio, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, and Vinny Appice. Man, this is such a great record. Computer God, After All the Dead, TV Crimes. What a great song that is, TV Crimes. Letters from Earth, Master of Insanity is so underrated. Time Machine, the Time Machine they used in Wayne's World, but I don't think it was the version that ended up on this one. I think they re-recorded Time Machine for this, and the one that ended up on the Wayne's World soundtrack was a little bit different. Sins of the Father, Too Late, Buried Alive. I mean, come on. Killer record. Black Sabbath, Dehumanizer. And that'll do it. Here's my 15 more perfect, or damn near perfect, traditional heavy metal record to start with your election, and a bonus, which we always do here in the Realms of Metal. So let me know what you guys think. There might be some questionable picks in here, but I tried to mix it up a little bit, you know, with the Panteras and the Candlemasses and the Accepts and all that stuff. So, and the W.A.S.P. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you agree, disagree. What would you have included in this list, taking into consideration the first 2 videos in this installment? So throw your comments down. Again, I appreciate all you guys. I really do. You guys are awesome, you know, for watching the videos and commenting and liking, and the people who subscribe to the channel, you know. How much better is getting this? We get the fucking bullshit about heavy metal, you know. So, again, thank you all. And thanks for hanging with me on the Realms of Metal on a Saturday afternoon. Have a killer rest of the weekend, and we'll see you guys again real soon. Have a good one.